when Cape Verdean American musician Norberto Tavares takes the stage, it will be a celebration on a personal and a national level. For Norberto, the event marks a milestone of 30 years as an important national recording artist. For the small West African island nation of Cape Verde, it will mark 30 years as an independent republic. The messages in Norberto's songs have helped to lead his people through the transition to democracy. He has been a champion of his island's musical traditions, an advocate for the poor, and an ardent supporter of social justice. Norberto has been called the conscience of Cape Verde. Norberto now makes his home in the United States, in New Bedford, Massachusetts. But he began his life's journey in Cape Verde, a group of islands located some 300 miles west of Africa, near Senegal. When Portuguese explorers arrived in the 15th century, the islands were uninhabited, but they were soon populated with Europeans and Africans who were brought to the islands as slaves. The vibrant Creole culture in Cape Verde evolved during the 500 years of Portuguese rule. Cultural ties to Europe were emphasized before independence in 1975, but since then, their African heritage has been increasingly celebrated. Life can be very difficult in Cape Verde because of its lack of rainfall and its physical isolation. Although it's hard to make a good living in Cape Verde, the islands have a wealth of musical traditions. Like the Criollo people, the music is a blend of Portuguese and African roots that have been cross-fertilized by waves of influence from the Caribbean, Brazil, and North America. They speak a Creole language, a mix of Portuguese and West African vocabulary and grammar. In the 1990s, the singer Cesaria Evora put Cape Verde on the map for the first time for international audiences with her slow, nostalgic mornas and upbeat coladeras. These musicians at a hotel in Praia are playing a morna made popular by Cesaria. Although the morna is popular with audiences throughout the world, young Cape Verdeans today identify with Criollo music that successfully blends together zouk, techno, hip-hop, R&B, and mainland African styles. After independence, Norberto helped to revolutionize Cape Verdean popular music with a modernized version of the folk music from his home island, Santiago. Norberto became known for his recordings of funana, a musical style characterized by the accordion and scraper sound, a new dance, powerful lyrics, and Pan-African associations. Norberto Tavares and other young musicians learned the songs of traditional funana performers. Musicians today are still returning to the roots. The internationally renowned Praia band, Pharaoh Gaita, has recorded several of the songs of Bitori Nyababinya. Whaling provided a connection between the islands and southern New England. Cape Verdeans found work in the wharves, mills, and cranberry bogs, establishing a cultural presence in coastal New England. Today, some 400,000 people living near southern New England have some Cape Verdean heritage, and new immigrants continue to arrive.
The National Park is here, and we were established in 1986 to help preserve and interpret the story of America's 19th century whaling, and really this city's heritage as the whaling capital of the world. We have a lot of Cape Verdeans here. We have a lot of Azorians, a lot of Portuguese, Native American. The Vets is right around the corner from there. There's the Elks Lodge. There's the schooner Ernestina, which is really important. The packet ships were really important. When the whaling industry declined, a lot of Cape Verdeans took the opportunity to purchase old whaling vessels and schooners and made trips back and forth to the homeland to bring Cape Verdeans here to this country. As far as sites, there's a lot of sites in the south end of town where a lot of the Cape Verdeans settled. But today, there's Cape Verdeans all around New Bedford. We're all related in some way. My dad is Cape Verdean, so I have cousins all over the place. And our heritage is really important through music, through food. It's really important when your parents teach you how to make jag or how to make manchoop. So our heritage is really still reflective here today. The Cape Verdean parade was just a couple of weeks ago.
She looks brava.
She looks brava, yes, with the lens in the cabeza.
Yeah,
Sí.
definitely.
Norberto Tavares' musical career closely parallels the establishment of his mother country as an independent republic. He was born in 1956 when Cape Verde was still a Portuguese colony, and he grew up in Asamara, in the interior of Santiago. His father, Aristides Tavares, was an acclaimed local musician. After his father died, Norberto taught himself to play keyboard and guitar. In his early teens, he formed a band that played church events. From age 16 to 23, Norberto lived in Lisbon, Portugal. He formed a band called Black Power, which released several record albums. The title song from his 1977 album, Nos Cabo Verde de Esperanza, captured the hearts and imaginations of the people with its dreams for a united, prosperous nation. The song became an unofficial national anthem for Cape Verdean people and still conjures powerful emotions today. In 1979, Norberto released an extremely influential solo album called Volta pa Fonte, or Return to the Source, which poetically celebrates the richness of Cape Verdeans' African heritage. It uses a musical style that reworks the sounds of batuco and funana. Norberto grew up listening to batuco and funana. Both of them have been incorporated into new styles that have emerged since independence.
Batuco is a type of music that's done primarily by women in the countryside, in small towns of the interior of Santiago. Women sit in a circle or a semicircle, and one woman is usually the leader, and they have kind of like pillows, wound up pieces of cloth that they set between their thighs. One woman will start the song, and people will keep a steady beat at first. Gradually, the women will add beats to that so that they'll have a 2 against 3 pattern going. At the same time, they're singing call and response songs, and there's usually 1 or 2 dancers performing in the center of the circle as well. Funana is dance music performed on a diatonic button accordion called gaita and a metal scraper called farinho in Crioulo. The farinho, a piece of end iron scraped with a simple kitchen knife, plays rhythmic accompaniment. The gaita player often doubles as a singer, improvising verses in performance.
Norberto, together with other artists of the 70s and 80s, created a mini Funana revolution in the dance halls of the Cape Verdean diaspora. Morna and Coladera songs remained popular, but young people wanted to dance to Funanam. When Norberto was about 23, he followed his mother to New England, where he formed a new band called Tropical Power with his brother Tony. In 1982, his album Mundu Stadi Boita, The World is Transforming, contained veiled critical references to the single-party government in Cape Verde, and the song was banned from the airwaves.
Mandioca crente já está passado. Se morre gosto, cada bar atravessado. Deixa falar, deixa contar. Nós tudo feito, é comida al vaga. Rapazinho novo, com salta tapum. Rapazinho novo, com espanta vegueira. Rapazinho novo, livra de sina. O chama mundo, está de boita. Escrevendo, labrado, bem que marado. Espantagem só para corvo com minhão, mas olha pra galbuja vira taço de céu. Cabo bolim, cabo mexem, já vira flor de carapati. Cabo ninam, cabo godam, já vira para.
A nostalgic love song set in the Santiago countryside called Maria Barubera became a major hit. It has been one of the most successful songs in the history of the Cape Verdean recording industry. In 1989, he released the solo album Jornada de Badiu, or Journey of a Badiu. The messages from this album made him a spokesperson for the Democratic election in 1991 and contributed to the new political party's victory.
I went to Tropical Power in 2000, I believe, or 1998.
Yeah, it was 1990. That was like the first time, actually. It was a time that Cape Verde was going through a transition from democracy and, the democratic movement and all that. And it just so happens, I guess, that we, went there during that time. Some people thought it was a big plot by the, But anyways, it was a great experience. I mean, back then when we were doing like the stuff with Tropical Power, it was always like something. You feel like, you remember back then we used to get like hundreds of people, like 500, 800 people in a hall.
A successful Tropical
you know what
Power
I mean?
had no trouble.
Like on a regular basis. But now it's just like if you have a live band playing, like, what are you gonna get? Like 40, 50 people inside a place. To get a person like Norberto Tavares, he's been a fighter in the Cape Verde music scene since I can remember. But as a 12-year-old kid, I was playing in a group, and I heard Norberto's music, and it was like, wow, this dude is doing something. But when you hear like that kind of power coming out of a Cape Verdean guy, it wasn't just like, like let's dance lollipop kind of Cape Verdean music. But Norberto was pushing like a heavy message in his music. And not only the message, but the actual music was powerful in itself because it was revolutionizing Cape Verdean music. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just the same old cumbia beats from all this other stuff. He brought something roots and brought it out with the political message that was going on. And for a guy like him to come from that level and to go through the crowds and the adulation of the people, to end up doing stuff like weekly, just barely surviving. Just to play his music, it's kind of sad. You know what I'm saying?
Norberto tries to earn his living just through making music. He arranges and produces music of other Cape Verdean musicians in his home studio in New Bedford. In the early 1990s, Norberto was diagnosed with diabetes. This has made it very difficult for him to tour and work effectively.
There used to be many places in New Bedford for Cape Verdean band to play, but almost all of those places are closed now. We used to have live music every week. It's so sad that our community is dying around New Bedford. Yeah, this used to be Crystal Cafe, very famous place, and it's been closed for about 2 years. Yeah, a Portuguese bought it, but Cape Verde no longer was interested in coming. I still play sometimes at Bet's Club in New Bedford. Even though young people today like different styles, music and dance are still very important.
Many Cape Verdean immigrants have served in the armed forces with distinction and are proud to be Americans.
More than anything else, Cape Verdeans like to dress up and go out to dance. When I go to Cape Verde, many reporters approach me and ask me if I can give them an interview, and people asking for autograph.
Aquele música de mais novo disco de Norberto Tavares.
Já está bom?
Sim!
Já está tudo direito?
Sim! Ninguém podia morar.